Nobody woke up today expecting what the Warriors just did. And if you are a true fan, one of those who have been suffering from confusing decisions, questionable rotations, and that feeling that something is always missing for the team to get going, this video is for you. Because today's movement is not just news. It touches directly on the fans' biggest pain and answers a question that has been buried for months. Where is this franchise really going? In a few minutes, you will understand what changed, why this happened now, and how this decision could be exactly the solution that Golden State needed to turn the key for good. Before continuing, let me ask you something quick and important. If you follow the Warriors, really care about the future of this team, and want to understand behind the scenes before anyone else, subscribe to the channel now. Leave a like because this shows YouTube that this content needs to reach more fans like you, and activate the bell so you don't miss any urgent updates that could come out at any time. Do it now, because what follows connects everything you've felt so far with the real impact of this decision. And if you leave before the end, you'll miss exactly the part that explains why this move changes everything for Golden State. If you follow the Warriors closely, you may have noticed that something different is in the air this week. The Chase Center is no longer just a stage for games, but has become the epicenter of conversations that could change not only the direction of the franchise, but the balance of power across the entire NBA. We are not talking about specific adjustments, small changes to complete the squad, or decisions just thinking about the next game. What is being discussed behind the scenes is big, deep, and carries historical weight. It's the kind of move that, if it happens, would echo from one coast of the league to the other and reset expectations for years. I know that, as a fan, you have experienced many ups and downs with this team. You've already celebrated titles, you've been thrilled with memorable campaigns, and you've also felt that silent frustration when things don't fit together as they should. That's exactly why this conversation is different. It's not just about winning a few more games in the regular season. It's about repositioning the Warriors where they've become accustomed to being, at the center of the real fight for titles. Today, I want to share with you something that didn't come out of nowhere, but that has been built little by little away from the spotlight. Information that circulates among executives, managers, and people who live the day-to-day life of the league. Things that haven't yet exploded onto the big portals, but are already treated seriously in the NBA's corridors. Before going into details, it is important to make something very clear. This is not a common exchange, it is not a low-risk bet, and it is not a move to see what happens. We are talking about a decision that could go down in league history. When we look at the Warriors' current situation, the feeling is bittersweet. The team has a record of 13 wins and 12 losses, occupying an intermediate position in the West. It's not a disaster, but it's also far from the scenario that many imagined at the beginning of the season. There is talent, there is experience, there is a system that has proven to work. At the same time, there is a constant feeling that something is missing. You see games where everything flows, the ball moves, the defense fits, and the team seems unstoppable. And soon after, he sees matches slip away in detail, in errors of execution, in defensive failures, in decisive moments. This emotional roller coaster is tiring. It tires the fans, it tires the squad, and above all, it raises alarms in the front office. Stephen Curry, even with a brief absence due to injury, continues to be the beating heart of the team. When he's on the court, the Warriors have a chance against any opponent. The simple fact that he exists in the attack completely changes the geometry of the game. Defenses stretch, spaces open up, and teammates find shots that wouldn't exist without him. Very few players in NBA history have had that kind of impact. But here comes the most delicate part of the conversation. The one that requires honesty. Steph is closer to the end of her career than the beginning. He remains brilliant, decisive, and capable of winning games practically alone. But time passes for everyone. It's not fair nor smart to expect him to carry everything on his shoulders night after night. It's not enough to just surround him with good supporting actors. To truly compete with the current powers in the West, he needs someone to share the burden. Someone who takes the lead when defenses do everything they can to neutralize him. The Warriors' front office knows this, and it's not today. In recent months, the board analyzed scenarios, talked to other franchises, evaluated young talents, and draft picks. It was clear that the objective is not simply to guarantee a place in the playoffs. The one is clear: maximize every remaining year of Stephen Curry's prime. This means thinking big, accepting risks, and, above all, making difficult decisions. Some of them affect not only the court, but the emotional identity of the franchise. This is where the story gets really interesting. Among so many possibilities analyzed, there is one name that stands out above all the others, a player who, if available, would completely change the way the Warriors would be viewed. An athlete who would not only complement Steph, but create a duo capable of rivaling any other in the league. The mere idea of this addition makes leaders consider scenarios that, until recently, would have been unthinkable. We are talking about decisions that affect the hearts of the fans. Decisions that involve giving up players who helped build the most successful era in Golden State's history. Today's NBA is powered by superstars. Teams that lift trophies almost always have 2 or 3 figures capable of dominating games in different aspects. Just look at the recent examples: Boston, Denver, Oklahoma City. They all have strong cores with elite talents that complement each other. Now imagine adding to this squad a player who has been an MVP more than once, an NBA champion, and a constant presence among the best in the world in recent years, an athlete with extremely rare size, strength, speed, and game intelligence. Someone who can score close to the basket, in transition, create constant mismatches, and also impact the game defensively at a very high level. It's not hard to understand why this changes everything. According to behind-the-scenes information, the Warriors see this player as the ideal fit alongside Stephen Curry, an almost perfect complement, both in attack and defense. And to make this possible, the franchise would be willing to do something it had never seriously considered before: dismantling the core that won 4 titles. Yes, that includes Draymond Green. Just thinking about it makes my stomach feel sick. Draymond is not just a player. He represents the competitive soul of this team. He was the loudest voice in decisive moments, the defensive brain, the emotional link between the squad, coaching staff, and fans. He was present in the most memorable moments of this dynasty. Trading someone like that isn't just a sporting decision, it's an emotional break. But according to reports from respected league insiders, there is only one name that would make this pain worth it from a competitive standpoint: Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the most dominant players of recent decades. An athlete who combines absurd physical strength, explosion, defensive versatility, and constant offensive impact. The idea discussed behind the scenes would involve Draymond, promising youngsters like Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski, forming a robust package for Milwaukee. From the Warriors' perspective, the reasoning is clear. Giannis is at his physical peak, brings a presence in the paint that the team simply doesn't have, and completely changes the team's defensive level. He would arrive as a constant threat in transition, a relentless finisher near the basket, and a defender capable of covering virtually any space on the court. Alongside Steph, he would create offensive situations that were almost impossible to defend. Imagine a pick and roll between Curry and Giannis. If the defense switches, Steph is left with a big player on the perimeter. If he doesn't change, Giannis attacks the rim with an advantage. Any defensive help generates free throws. It's a puzzle that few teams could solve. And defensively, Giannis's versatility would allow for adjustments that currently seem out of reach for the Warriors. Of course, none of this erases the emotional impact of Draymond's possible departure. He is still valuable, still delivering intensity, reading the game, and leadership. But it is also true that time takes its toll. Giannis, on the other hand, offers all of this at a different stage of his career, with far superior offensive production. This is not about belittling Draymond, but about understanding the reality of title windows. There is also the financial and strategic factor. Giannis is on a long-term contract, which means security beyond a single season. It would not be a rental. It would be the chance to start a new competitive phase, extending the Warriors' relevance for several years. In an increasingly strong West, with young and talented opponents, standing still can be as risky as risking everything. It's important to make it clear, none of this is confirmed. Exchanges at this level are complex, full of variables, negotiations, and crossed interests. Milwaukee would need to be willing to talk. Other franchises are also monitoring the situation. But the mere fact that Draymond's name appears in discussions of this size already shows how far Golden State is willing to go to compete now. Ultimately, this is a conversation about identity, legacy, and ambience. Dog. About how far a franchise is willing to go to capitalize on the final years of a generational player like Stephen Curry. Perhaps this exchange will never happen. Perhaps everything will just remain in the field of speculation. But one thing is certain, the Warriors are thinking big, and that in itself changes the way we look at the future. Now I want to hear from you. Would you accept paying that price for a real chance at another title? Is it worth risking your heart in exchange for a new winning era? This is the discussion that could define Golden State's next years, and that's exactly why it matters so much. And that is exactly why this moment is so decisive. We're not just talking about a possible exchange, a passing rumor, or yet another eye-catching headline. We're talking about a crossroads that could define Stephen Curry's ultimate legacy and the next chapter in the Warriors' story. Movements like this don't appear every week, nor every year. They appear when a franchise understands that time is precious and that thinking small is more expensive than daring. If this step is taken, nothing will be the same in Golden State, for better or worse, but always with title ambitions. Now, if you want to follow every detail of this story, understand the behind the scenes, the next updates, the real developments, and everything that may arise from here, I left the Golden State Warriors News Today playlist in the comment pin. There are all the videos that connect with this subject and always keep you one step ahead. Click, keep watching, and stay up to date, because this story is far from over, and you won't want to miss out on what comes next.